Hey guys, Gabriel from Toda, and today I have another figure review for you. This time it's another Megahouse figure in the Kuroko basket range. This time we're looking at Aomine, possibly, as most people say, the most powerful in terms of skill at the game of basketball within the series. So as usual, we have the Kuroko basket logo, our sticker, and our Megahouse logo with his text up the side there with his name. This side we have a nice shot of him with his name and number there. Different angle shot there, the same information. Some cool windows there. Up top, some more windows and another picture of him. On the back, some more pictures, a little bit of text or disclaimers down there. And as usual, nothing on the bottom. Just starting at the base as usual, he's one of the few characters who is actually quite flat to the ground. There's no sort of excessive pegs or lifting him up off the ground. So we have, as usual, our basketball court base with his number, his team name all there. And as we move up, the thing that captures me straight away about this piece is the portrait. He's really smiling and enjoying playing basketball, and that's what Aomine loves to do. He loves to play basketball, especially against a strong opponent. So as we look more, he's got quite a dark kit, which makes for less shading, but there are some nice dark blues within the black, and as you see that movement there captured in that sculpt's really great. Sort of, it's almost showy the way he plays basketball from playing street ball, and as you can see, he's sort of, I can see the story here, he sort of passed the ball from his hand to his hand behind his back. Looks really, really good. Clean, the black lines within the red lines, all done really well, there's no bleed over there. I can see we have a fair amount of muscle tone, we can see some sort of striations in his delts there, and some stretching of muscle on his neck and in his arms. Now one thing I do have to say is the shading on his hair isn't quite as good as some of the other figures, because we have to go from this black to this dark blue. There isn't much of a gradient they could do, and that means that it's a bit more sudden as opposed to a progressive, sort of highly well done fade like on some of the other characters. So the hair is probably the worst of the figures I've seen so far in this range, which is a shame, but I guess there's not much you can do when you're going from such a drastic change of a sort of semi-dark blue to a black. It's quite a contrast. While up here you can see some really good definition coming out from his delts into his arms. I really love this pose, it's really great, it's very Aomine. And again you can see the portrait and how he's carrying himself. Really nice. So a slight complaint about the hair I think is overdone by how much story and how great this is sculpted and posed, and as usual the paint, excluding the hair, it's all done really great. Let's measure him up and do some size comparisons. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's about as tall as Kuroko, if not a bit shorter. So he stands at about 6.5 inches, which is about 16.5 centimeters, give or take. The widest point is his base to the edge of his hand, which is just over 6 inches, about 16 centimeters. And his depth is from the front of the base to the back of his foot, which is about 7.5 inches, which is 19 centimeters. Here he is on a delve shelf by himself. Here he is next to 1/8 Jotaro Kujo, and here he is next to 1/6 Jotaro Kujo. So my only real complaint with this piece being that the gradient in the hair is not quite in line with the other gradients in terms of quality, but there's not much you can do when you're going from a blue to a black. It's quite a hard gradient to pull off, and they have tried, but the colouring, and I think this is my favourite sculpt. I really like the story it's telling, the way he's passing the ball, and just how sort of contorted and free moving his body is. It really is that of a talented athlete. I really love this pose. And something I've just picked up a minute ago is, as you can see behind his fingernails, the skin is lighter. As Aomine's very tanned from playing street basketball, so that's a really nice touch that they go and put in that extra effort. So I think he's actually got my favourite pose and my favourite portrait. I really love his face. So because of that, I'm totally willing to forgive the hair difficulties with that gradient, because, well, there's not much more they could do. It's just how the character looks. So the gradient, the sculpt, the pose, portrait, I think are all really good. It might be my favourite piece out of all of these. At this point of recording, I do actually own all the pieces. I'm looking over at them in my death elves. Yeah, I think this one takes place as my favourite. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.